Hey, everybody, welcome to today's show. My name's Jonathan. To my left, John B., CEO, owner of Masters. What's up, my man?
Doing great, John. I can't wait to talk about all these exciting tight ends.
Yeah, me neither. Before we jump into this show, we are reviewing one of our first live draft of the year. These are actual money leagues. Going to be taking a look at it, looking at some value picks at the tight end position.
Real quick on the way, there's no rookies in these drafts, so Kyle Pitts will not be in there. We're talking about tight ends today. The reason there's no rookies, we don't have any idea, landing spots, draft capital, things of those nature. It makes it real tough to draft rookies, and they're not in any team. So we run in these super early dynasty leagues. We run a veteran draft after the veteran draft's over. We run a 2-round rookie draft where we flip flop the order, and the rookie draft's actually after the NFL draft.
Yeah, these are really cool drafts. I always say you get the two drafts for the price of one. And also, if you guys want to follow along, right there in the description, I put the link to the draft report. Click on that. You can look right at tight ends with us. Take a look at the whole draft if you want to. Come up with some of your own value picks. With that said, going to jump right into this. My first value pick at tight end is going to be at the 9.1 pick. Looking at Robert Tunyan of the Green Bay Packers. I think it was actually the ninth tight end off the board, too, which he finished fourth. And just something I like about him, because I looked at his age. He's 26 years old, but he's like the perfect age to be paired up with Aaron Rodgers. I know that for certain. Even if you get 3 more years out of elite years out of Aaron Rodgers, I think that's exactly what you're going to get out of Robert Tonyan as well. The stat that I liked the most about him was those 11 touchdowns.
And Rodgers has a history of throwing touchdown passes to his tight ends.
Right, and I mean something I really.
I used to get so mad at Rodgers because he would always. It would seem to me like I would always be down at the 2-yard line. It's first and goal from the 2, and he was never running the ball. And I can't remember who the running backs I used to have, and he's always throwing it to some tight end I'd never heard of, and it just used to irritate me.
Yeah, and he looks for him in the red zone too.
I always thought he was like pumping up his stats, but
Yeah,
nobody ever
probably.
cared.
Yeah, and well, that because Robert had that like 4 touchdown game.
Yeah.
And I almost felt like 2 touchdowns into it, and then he's going for the third. I'm like, oh, he's just playing with these guys now. He's like, you know what? I'm going to give this guy 6 touchdowns a day, put him on the fantasy radar, and he was. And I was worried that that was just going to be a fluke game, but it wasn't. I mean, he continued to look for Robert Tonyan in the red zone, and I don't expect that to change. Comfortable. Quarterbacks get comfortable with somebody. When you get down to the red zone, you're automatically going to roll coverage to Devontae Adams. You're going to worry about Robert Tunyan is just going to kind of slip through them cracks.
Yeah, you got that Aaron Jones back there. And
Yeah, which we'll see on Aaron Jones. I actually think Aaron Jones not being there probably bumps Robert Tunyan up just a little bit too. But I just think there's a ton of value to be found there. I don't think he's a tight end you're going to have past Aaron Rodgers. That's my only knock on him.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean as long as he's playing tight end for Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers behind center, I love him.
And I'm going to go right to mine. My tie is Logan Thomas. And he had a great year last year, and he's 28, 29 years old. Most people don't know he's really athletic. He was an All-American quarterback in high school. I mean, I'm an All-American for some. He backed up Tyrod Taylor at college. I think it's at Virginia Tech. I'm not sure of the high school.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, and he had a couple good seasons at quarterback when he came in the NFL, and they converted him to tight end. He didn't, it took a while to get rolling, but last year it's just weird how and I don't know who the quarterback's going to be in Washington. They're going to have all these checkdowns, but all these, he did pretty well last year, and I'm not very good at picking tight ends, just for the record.
Yeah, and I mean, I made a joke the other day, like over half your league isn't good at picking tight ends.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So I mean, no biggie there. I mean, the tight end points are really tough to come by. I struggled with it quite a bit last year, so and I am worried even with some of the incoming rookies, which they're not in this draft. You have to worry about, tight end just predominantly doesn't usually produce in year one, which is why I wrote down my second tight end. That's going to be Rob Gronkowski. A guy that finished ninth at tight end, and really they didn't even use him for the first half of the season. He was like a decoy. I mean, I drafted him everywhere last year. If you go, if you watch any of our shows last year, Tom Brady, Gronk, I love them reuniting back in Tampa. Week after week though, Bruce Arians is coming out with news. He's a decoy. He's not going to be involved. He's a blocking tight end. I think you've seen as the season progressed, Tom started to get comfortable. Gronk got comfortable. He started to use him a little bit more. a lot of questions with what's going to happen with Chris Godwin. I mean, I do think if Godwin leaves, that's only going to help Gronk out. But I also think when you look in the playoffs, too, when things got tight, Brady went and he looked for Gronk, looked for what he knew. This is probably the most dominant, I think it is the most dominant quarterback tight end pairing we've ever seen. And people look at him, he's old, he's been injured. He's the exact same age as Travis Kelce.
He is?
Yeah, they're neck and neck in age. They're both 31 years old. I mean, Travis Kelce just went 1.9 in this Dynasty draft. Yeah. I mean, Rob Gronkowski, and I'm not saying that Rob should be a first-round pick. I'm saying when I look at the value at the tight end position, I really have to question would I rather have, Travis Kelce at 1.9 or Gronk in the 10th round.
My next one is it's Zac Ertz. And he came in, he was a 12th tight end off the board, came in 10.1. The best thing about Zac Ertz, we all know who Zac Ertz is. We all know that going into last year, he was a 3rd tight end off the board in pretty much every league. It was, Kelce, Kittle. Sometimes it was Kittle, Kelce, then Ertz. Maybe Waller's in there a couple times or Andrews, but certainly in the top 5 in every league.
Every league.
And he certainly fell off last year, there's no doubt about it. But he's still, he was injured. I think he's going to come back. I think just getting out of Philadelphia is going to help him out. Especially, I'd like to see him go to Indianapolis and reunite with Carson. But, I mean, it's a kind of a roll the dice in the tight ends anyways. And I'll tell you one trick I have learned about tight ends is if you look in the huddle, the tight end is almost always the tallest player on the field. And my minimum height for a tight end is 6'5". If they're not 6'5", I want nothing to do with them. Yeah. And all those tight ends are just named, by the way, are 6'5" or taller.
Yeah, big guys. Yeah. No, I like it. And I think a lot of us were scratching our heads last year with Zac Ertz.
Yeah.
Just couldn't figure out exactly what
was
going on.
I kept playing him, and I kept and I like Dallas Goedert, too. And I remember that you were talking about McCole Hardman and Tyreek Hill. And I always thought about Goddard and Ertz were like clones of each other.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I actually think they're both great value picks there. And I think the whole fantasy community wants Zac Ertz to go reunite with Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
This would be pretty cool. And if he does, definitely a guy that should have some life left in the tank. I think it's a great steal, great value there. And like I said, there's not a ton to pick from the tight end position. Another guy I like in there is Evan Ingram, too.
I was thinking that, too.
And slipped down. Oh, and I'd lost my train of thought. What I wanted to say prior to that was, look at that Philadelphia team and tell me who did produce last year. Like, nobody. I guess all I'm saying is I don't put it all on Zac Ertz. Like, that whole team was atrocious offensively.
It was. I know that it was.
And so I just don't think it came down to like one individual player. I just think that team was a mess. So to think that Zac Ertz couldn't bounce back, I think is absurd.
I do too.
That's all I'm saying. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up our tight end show. If you could, take a look at the tight ends that were drafted. Tell us who you think your value pick is. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you're an existing customer with Masters, we appreciate it so much. If you're new to it, love for you to come be a part of the Masters family. Hit that like and subscribe button. The 2 coolest commissioners in the world, I promise you.
Hey, I got one thing to add. You asked who produced in Philadelphia last year.
Yep.
Between weeks, and I've said this before, between weeks 4 and 9 last year, between weeks 4 and 8, that's a 5-week stretch. QB1, Carson Wentz. I'm a huge Carson Wentz fan, as you can't tell. And Baker.
Yeah, and he had a wide receiver that produced pretty good during that time, too, didn't he?
My boy Travis Fulgham.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Appreciate listening.
That's it.
Good stuff.